to episode 179 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia. And the guy on your other screen or in your other ear, if you're listening to the podcast, is Mr. Charlie Brown in Mount Beauty, Victoria, Australia. Hello, Charlie.
Hey, Brendan, how are you?
Very well. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
A special day for you today as well.
Well, thank you for having me on this special day. Yeah, absolutely.
For those of you playing along at home, today is, well, when we're recording this, it's Charlie's birthday. Yay!
Well, everyone has one, but it still feels special though, doesn't it? You have a birthday and it feels like a special day.
Nice. And because Charlie is so high tech, he is using his phone to appear on the podcast today, which I'm just... and it makes me proud. It really does.
Yeah.
So apologies for video glitches and things like that, but the audio is coming through loud and clear, which is the main thing. Everyone can hear your dulcet tones.
Well, thank you.
No, I love it. Now, for those of you who are hoping to see a Peanuts character, it's not that Charlie Brown. It's Australia's one and only photographer called Charlie Brown, I'm assuming. I'm going to address that elephant in the room. So, surely when you were named, Peanuts was a thing, right?
Only by a year.
Oh, is that right?
Only a year earlier, 1958. Charles Schultz invented Peanuts. And there's several Charlie Browns. There's a lot of them. And there's a Charlie Brown photographer in Canada. Because when I was years ago, and I was trying to do my website and set it all up and doing it, and I'm come across this other guy, Charlie Brown photographer. So I, had a look at his stuff and emailed him and said, "G'day, what a coincidence." Never heard back. He never replied.
Well, I'm assuming it's a he. I mean, Charlie's
I know, there was pictures of him and stuff. He was an older guy, older than me even.
Is that possible?
Only just.
Yeah, well, he's probably watching, so I have no doubt everyone watches the Down South Photo Show. So I hope he's g'day, Charlie Brown. If there's any other Charlie Browns watching, leave us a comment below. We'd like to hear from you. There's a couple of reasons that I've asked Mr. Brown along on the podcast, not least of which is that in a matter of weeks, which has come around so bloody quickly, him and I will be running the what have they called it this year, Charlie? The big bad bus trip.
It is the big bad bus trip, I think. Yeah, that's what we called it last year, and I think we're keeping that. Seemed to work.
No, I beg to differ. Last year it was called Brendan and Charlie's Great Escape, and there was a demarcation dispute over my name being first. So it's now Charlie and Brendan's big bad bus trip, which is totally fine by me.
Yeah. Well, you can tell that I'm right on things because I didn't even know what we were called last year. So
right.
I'm exactly there.
Yeah, so that's being held at the Bright Festival of Photography, or BFOP. Now, we're not going to make this all about BFOP because we know that we have people listening all over the world who might not make it down to Bright. But for those of you who are coming along, we will see you the Thursday and the Friday at Bright. I believe all seats on the bus were sold.
I know. It's amazing. That's fantastic.
I know.
That's 80 people over the 2 days. That's 40 people a day.
Yep.
They'd have to listen to us.
Yeah, I love it. And I also noticed, Charlie, because I'm quite observant, that you have put your hand up to give a little talk on the main stage as well. I think on the Saturday, is that right?
I did. I saw it. I saw it. I thought, why not? I did 20 years as a winter sports photographer, as a ski resort photographer. I thought, well, that's got to be interesting to somebody. So,
I'm planning on being in the audience if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love it. Yeah.
If I'm awake by then.
I've got yes, we will have already run 2 full days of the bus trip, so we might be quite exhausted by then.
We'll be gassed.
Quite talked out. But I've yet to put my presentation together, so I've got to do the slideshow. But there's so much involved in photographing ski resorts. So it's not just photographing skiers, high-end skiers and boarders. It's everything. You've got to photograph restaurants and food and interiors and portraits and kids and ski school stuff and capture all those mornings when the snow's in the trees and all sorts of snow cats working and all sorts of stuff. So it was a great learning curve. Like you really had to learn how to photograph everything.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that as we go through this little interview with you.
Well, I thought we only had 4 more minutes.
No, sorry, you're a little bit longer than that. When we get towards the back end, that's when I tell you no one's listening anymore. You can say whatever you want about whoever you
Oh,
want.
okay. All right.
But
Yeah,
off the top, the algorithm tells us that people normally listen for about, for the front half normally, and then they sort of go off and walk the dog.
If we let
or
them
make a
know,
cup or whatever.
if we let them know, we've got some snippets of very interesting information right at the end.
Sure,
You know?
we certainly
That's
do,
it.
and I hope you do because I don't. That's fine. Sounds good to me. Just a bit of housekeeping. Thank you to everyone, all 1,300 of you who subscribe to us on the YouTubes, and the countless thousands others who download us on the audio podcast. It's great to know that people are out there as we speak, hitting the gym, walking the dog, driving to wherever, probably driving to Bright, listening to us. So thank you for that. Thanks for sharing us around, all that sort of stuff. And also, you'll see as we go through the episode, there's some little scrolly things that go across the bottom. Have a read of those, and that'll help us keep this shit show together. So awesome. Thank you. We appreciate it. Charlie, we always start these interviews with a little segment I like to call burst mode.
Hang on.
Burst mode.
You haven't prepared me for any of this.
Well, no, that's right. This is why I like it. See, sort of fly by your seat. Now, the thing about burst mode, Charlie, is there is no wrong answers. Okay, right. So there isn't a wrong answer. You can answer however you want to these questions. I have about 8 or 9 questions for you, and let's get straight into those, and then we'll get into a bit more history about Charlie Brown. First question: color or black and white?
Black and white.
Any particular reason why?
It's ageless. It's timeless. I like black and white. I love black and white portraiture, but I also, in my landscape stuff, I shoot a lot of black and white.
Okay.
Cool. I like it.
No, I like film or digital?
Well, I did a lot of work on film before it turned digital because I've been photographing for quite a while. But I really do like digital now, and I blow some stuff up pretty big, and the quality's right there, So yeah, I used to work a lot with video guys. So I had, especially over at Mount Hotham, when it was film, and I was shooting film, and they had video. So we'd go back to the office, and they'd be looking at the footage straight away, and I'd be sending my slides off to Melbourne, waiting 2 weeks to get them back, and going, oh my God, so it was really frustrating. So as soon as digital came in, I was on it. I was there,
Yeah.
Just for that revolution. I mean, I can understand the purists that still want to use film and everything, but for the convenience of shooting stuff and getting it out there straight away and utilizing it immediately, digital's fantastic, and it is good. The quality's good. You got to tweak it a bit, but it is good.
Absolutely. Your first camera.
It was a.
Oh, this is great. This is really testing him out.
Look, no, this is going back. STX1. It was an STX1. Now, what was that brand? It was a Fuji, maybe, or I can't even remember the brand. But then I went to the Canon T90s. No, it wasn't the Minolta. Then I ended up with Canon T90s. When I started getting serious, I had 3 of those, and I started shooting up in the mountains with the Canon T90s, and then they were film cameras, and then I bought a Canon V1, which was the top of the line film camera, thinking digital was going to be years and years away. So I bought the V1 and a whole set of new lenses, traded in all my old T90s, and paid $20-something thousand, as well as trading in 3 cameras and all my lenses, getting a couple of lenses and a body, and it went digital 6 months later.
Right.
I've never touched that camera since. And it cost a fortune.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
so
I still got it. Still got it.
You've still got which camera? Which camera have you still got?
The V1, the Canon.
The Canon
V1, V1, whatever it is.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the film camera.
Well, thanks to the wonders of modern technology, I can show you that is your first camera. There's an STX1. That is a Fujica.
Yes, the Fujica. Yes. Yeah, that was it.
It was probably with that very lens as well, which looks like some kind of 50 mil or like a 50 mil probably an f1.8 or something like that. They normally sold those bad boys with, didn't they?
Yeah, that was it. My father bought me a camera for my 21st, and God bless him, he did the right thing, bought me a camera, but it was some crappy little thing. So I sneakily went into the camera shop with extra money and bought one of those. Made up the difference, which was probably 2/3 more than what he'd paid on the thing, and ended up having that for quite a few years. And
There you go.
it was great. A great introduction to it all.
How good's technology? I can just throw a picture up on the screen.
No, that's amazing. Any pictures of me when I'm younger?
Yeah, and it was only 45 years ago that you got that camera, mate. So let's keep moving on.
I know.
As we
Probably was. It was actually. Yeah.
Okay, so that was, we know about your first camera.
Yes.
What is your latest camera? What's the last camera you acquired?
A Canon 8, an R8. A little
Canon R8. So you've joined the mirrorless revolution.
I have. Because the only reason I went mirrorless, because I've started shooting some real estate stuff for one of the local agents here in the mountains. So they rang me up and asked me to do some. So yeah, why not? And I wanted a little flip out screen because it's so much more convenient when you're in confined spaces to be able to look at it. Now, and I bought it just for that. But now that I've got it, I'm really liking it. So I've been shooting some landscapes with it, and I've been doing some videos where I'm using it in the videos when I'm recording myself for my YouTube channel and that sort of thing. And I find it very convenient with that big screen that you have as well that you can flip out and look at. And
they are very useful, aren't they? So
yeah. It's not a high end one.
Okay,
it's
it's an R8. It's a cool camera.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, you can spend a lot more, but it's been doing the job for me.
Absolutely. So we've heard your first camera. We know what your latest camera is, but what has been your favorite camera?
I had an RB67, an old Mamiya. That was a great medium format camera. Yeah, that was great. I bought that for shooting food and interiors way back when.
Yeah,
and it was great because you had to load the film yourself, load it on, put the back on, wind it on, wind the shutter up, the mirror up, and all that sort of stuff. Then fire it off, then wind it all back on again. And you had 12 shots on your roll. And that had finished. They take the rest of your roll and put it in its canister, and it was really hands-on, manually just doing it all. Yeah, I've still got that too. I use that in my workshops to dismount.
What a wonderful looking piece of equipment.
Well, the beauty of that is too, you dismantle it. So you take the top off it, you take the lens off it, you take the back off it, and it is just a box with a hole through it. And then you can see the mirror in there. So it's great for teaching purposes, just for showing people, because even now with the digital, it's still the same. The principles are the same. We're just using digital sensors rather than film. But you can pull these things apart and people look at it, and then you can put the lens on and just show them the aperture and vary the aperture and show them when that's closing and opening up and all that sort of stuff. And the mirror, you can see the big mirror lifting up and getting out of the way and all that sort of stuff. So it's a great camera.
No, I don't
Not great for sports.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. But I don't think I'm alone here when I encourage you to maybe bring that thing along to Bright, because that would be very cool to see if you can dig it out.
I know it's got it there it's there in a box. Yeah. I mean, I do use it. So.
Did that shoot 120 roll, or what are we looking at here?
Yeah. And you got a Polaroid back for them as well.
Oh,
so you can put a Polaroid back on them, so you could shoot a Polaroid, especially if you're doing interiors. You'd shoot a Polaroid to see where you needed to put some more lights and how everything was going. Whereas now with shooting interiors, you just bracket 8 shots and you blend them all together. So you don't need any lights. But then you need to light everything. You could go into a job. I remember going with a friend of mine, Andrew Ritchie, who's a very well-known photographer in Melbourne. And you'd have 10 lights in a room. And he'd always say the beauty of this, you've got to take this shot so no one thinks there's any lights. Yeah. But there's lights. Yeah, just trimming across the top of the table, or just hinting on the back of a chair, or just lighting up a corner of the room, stuff like this. And you'd be hiding them all over the place. It was amazing.
Being able to shoot a Polaroid, I mean, that is the forerunner of digital, right? Because we get that live preview on the screen now. So, so it was literally that whole back part came off, and there was another back part that went on that took. Was it the old school square Polaroid film?
Yep. Cool. It is. I'll bring it along. We'll see. Actually, I'll get hold of Nick or someone and see if we can get some Polaroids for it.
Oh, there's I know a couple of people that would be very interested to see that setup. at BFOP. That is
Yeah,
superb.
yeah. We'll shoot some Polaroids with it. Hey, that'd be a good idea, actually.
Why
Wandering
don't you
around on
do
the
it during your
Saturday.
talk? Do it during your talk. Get up there and rip a couple of Polaroids out. That'd be
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
unbelievable.
Except for my
Particularly having a
light
camera
meter.
like that.
Yeah, but you used to use a light meter then too.
Yeah.
So you'd use a light meter which would govern the sight. And my light meter, I left the batteries in it, and these things aren't cheap.
No.
And of course, I got the old corrosion going on, not worth fixing, and to buy another one's $700 or something.
Just go and speak to Joel when you're at BFOP. He'll have
He'll
have analog gear for Africa, so you'll have a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're already like 10 minutes in. I haven't even got halfway through burst mode, but that's fine. That's good.
Oh,
no,
right.
I have.
Oh, right.
So that was your favorite camera. This is a question without notice. You'll like this one. Who inspires you, Charlie?
Who inspires me? I'd like to. I mean, everyone throws back to Ansel Adams. I think probably his early black and white stuff. Not everything of his though. I look at some of his stuff, but there is some classics. And the idea that he spent a lot of time on the post production as well. That's what I think now. If digital was around, he would be using digital and loving it with Photoshop because he'd be right in there. But I mean, that was probably my first, when I first was getting into it, I would look at some of his early black and white stuff and think, yeah, that's pretty cool, And being nature, although I was fairly heavily sports orientated as well, but I didn't have anyone that I really followed or anything in the sports thing. I just sort of wanted to shoot it myself.
Yeah, well, he's a very, very popular choice for an inspiration. There's a reason he's got his own posthumous gallery at Yosemite National Park, and he's the reason why when I do an entry-level photography workshop, I show a photo of his to begin with.
Right. Until now,
of course,
you'll be showing mine.
One of yours. That's exactly right. I'm with you. So this is a one-word answer. What's more important, exposure or composition?
Composition.
Okay. Beautiful. I should keep a scoreboard here somewhere, but that's fine. Now, and this is the most important burst mode question. Do you watch the Down South Photo Show?
All the time. I can't believe I can find the time to do it, but I do. Yeah.
Oh, you are so full of shit. That's great. No, I love it. That's awesome. Thank you.
That episode with Heaton.
Oh, well, you and half the planet watched that one, so that's good.
Yeah.
No, he was actually a wonderful get for the channel, and he helped sort of spread the word about the Down South Photo Show.
He's such a nice guy too.
He's a lovely guy, and his insights were absolutely brilliant. And a lot of people got a lot out of that. So, Charlie, so you mentioned before that you were around 21 years of age when your old man bought you a camera. So is that the genesis of photography for you, or does it go back a bit earlier than that?
Probably went a bit earlier than that. But look,
it's a while ago, mate.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
No, that was probably it. When I go back, well, he bought it for me because I was keen. So I guess, for a couple of years before that, I was into photography a certain amount. I had a little, almost a disposable camera that you'd have 36 shots on it or something like that, and you'd send it in and you'd buy another whole camera. So there's no technological stuff going on in those.
Yeah.
Technology. But yeah, so I probably had one of those before the Fuji. And
Okay.
So yeah, just taking pad shots.
So that getting that, well, for all intent and purposes, real camera, the Fuji. So that was what basically gave you the spark to want to get more into photography and get out there and use the thing. I mean, can you remember, taking photos with that for the first time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I was living then down the Great Ocean Road, so I was then at Port Campbell, and I photographed that, and I was going to do a calendar back when the only calendars on the market were Peter Dombrowski. I don't know how to say his surname because I was saying someone.
I believe it's Dombrowski.
He was doing the Tasmanian Wilderness. Yeah, okay. He was doing the Tasmanian Wilderness calendars, and I saw them and thought they were amazing. I love them. Oh, there you go. There's my inspiration, Peter. Yeah. So I started photographing stuff around the Great Ocean Road that wasn't your standard 12 apostles and this, that, and the other. It was different. And I was going to do a calendar I can't remember what year it was, but I rang him, got his phone number, rang him in Tasmania, and I said, look, I'm Charlie Brown, I'm da-da-da. And he said, look, I'm just having dinner with my family. I'll call you back. And he called me back and we spoke for half an hour about the calendars. Yeah, it was amazing. He actually he did say to me, it's an expensive thing, blah, blah, blah. He gave me the costings and how to sort of go about getting it done and all that sort of thing. And I sort of didn't do it the following year. I sort of thought, well, maybe my photos aren't quite up to speed yet. So I didn't do it. And the following year, there was about 10 calendars on the market of similar format and all that sort of stuff. And they were retailing for what I was going to have to wholesale them for. So the price, they were getting thousands done. I wasn't. I was 18 or something, or must have been 20 or something. And 21. Maybe my father bought me that camera from my 18. Anyway,
this is good.
Long time ago.
Charlie's learning about himself as we speak here, everyone. Yes, this is excellent. On the fly.
Yeah. I didn't do it because, and luckily I didn't, because I probably wouldn't have sold any. They were going to be too dear, and it wasn't, anyway. But that was my first experience of trying to be commercial,
Well, can we just hold on a sec here? Now you're telling me that you got on the phone to Peter Dombrovskis and he said, I'm having dinner, I'll call you back. And mark of the man, he actually did. And that's one hell of a story, Charlie. That's absolutely brilliant. I don't know anyone who's spoken to Peter Dombrovskis. That's a fantastic.
And especially some hack from Port Campbell, some kid that was wanting to do the calendar like he was doing and lots of stuff. He spoke to me. And he was really polite. He was like, I'd love to help you. I'm just having dinner with my family, Yeah. Can I call you back? And then there was only home phones, so
yeah, of course.
You just rang on the home line.
So Port Campbell, I mean, talk about, a backyard muse for you for photography. It's pretty amazing. Incredible. I mean, there's only a handful of places that I've been in the world where you sort of walk around so one of them is the 12 Apostles, where you see down that lookout for the first time, like the first time you're there. It's still to this day just does things for me. When you can dodge and weave the tourist, which can be a little bit tricky sometimes. But that aside, there's something about that landscape that just marries up with everything I know about landscape photography, and it just makes for such a fantastic location. Did you ride the pushy out there quite often, or hitch a lift out there quite often to take photos?
Yeah, and there wasn't any tourists around. The tourist level there was hardly anyone around back then. We could go down. I used to be able to get onto the beach at the base of the 12 Apostles. So there is a tunnel. I shouldn't say this, it's blocked off now, but there's a tunnel you can go down Gibson Steps, which I think you can't even get down there anymore. And you walk along the beach and go through this tunnel on low tide and get into the other side, into the beach where the 12 Apostles are. And I've been down there and taken photos in there and been attacked by the penguins. Standing there, and this penguin shot out of his burrow and checked me on the ankle, and then took off again. I'm like, what was that?
That's amazing.
All this sort of stuff. But we had unrestricted access to all that coastline and some pretty dangerous stuff. I mean, and I surfed all that area too. So we were just familiar with the cliffs and the water and the oceans and all that sort of stuff. So I would be in and out of caves and down on rock ledges you'd walk along these ledges and getting shots along there. It's pretty spectacular.
Well, you'll be very happy to know that Gibson Steps is still accessible.
Okay.
We know this because Cam and I run our Great Ocean Road photography workshop down there, and we were only there back in when we were there only a couple of months ago. And the access is still there now. From what I've heard, though, they have earmarked a major sort of upgrade to Gibson Steps, so that may not be the case soon. They might close it for a while. And there is a brand new thumping great big visitor centre being built at the 12 Apostles as well.
Oh my goodness.
If you thought the last one was big, wait till you see this one. And I see it as a good thing, though, because it does cater for the sheer weight of numbers that get down there. Because at the moment, you've got there's a bit of litter lying around, the toilets are awful, all that sort of stuff. So they're going to improve that down there, which is, it's got to be a good thing. Far be it from us to stop anyone from visiting that place, because as I say, I do still rate it as one of the world's premier viewing platforms, just to look out over that magnificent view. So getting back to your local area around Port Campbell, I mean, this is obviously back in the days when there was actually a London Bridge as well.
Yeah. I've got photos of that before it fell. And the beach at London Bridge, you used to be able to get down onto the beach there, which you can't do anymore. And there was this amazing shore break the waves that used to come in there, and you go down there and watch the penguins coming in, and just 6 foot shore breaks of this waves just coming crashing down to the sand, just exploding on the sand. Then all these penguins would rush out of it and try and get up the beach and get sucked back down, and it was a classic. Yeah. But I was going to say, Gibson Steps back in the day was just almost like footholds. It was little narrow, slippery. You go down there for a surf and you get back up, and if you were the third guy coming back up with wet feet, you had to really be careful because you could slip off the edge. And there were some other steps called Dini steps that were further around near Port Campbell, and then Beacon steps that were right at Port Campbell. And we'd go down all those, and they were amazing steps, and get down and surf all those areas and jump off the rock ledges down there. But they, shut them all off, which is really unfortunate.
Well, it is. I mean, part of the reason is the conservation of the little penguins that are down there. So I totally understand that. And again, just weight of numbers, because the Great Ocean Road is so accessible now and maintained as such, so that and when you get down there and there's literally 45 buses of people there for the sunset.
Really?
It's next level now. And it's quite funny, because when Cam and I run our workshop there, we have a whole day in that area. We do sunrise at the 12 Apostles. We go through Port Campbell. We go out to London Bridge and the Bay of Islands and all these places, and then back via Baker's Oven and Lockhart Gorge, which has also been completely done up, and that's got a new viewing area and all that.
I heard, and the blowhole I saw somewhere.
That's right.
The viewing area and the blowhole.
Yeah.
We used to always wonder about going in there.
And then we finish our workshop we finish that day back at the 12 Apostles for sunset, and we try and, if the sun's setting at 6, we're there at 4 to stake out at a spot. Wow. And we set up tripods, so it's cool. Everyone gets their spot, and it's amazing. The instant the sun hits the horizon, it's empty. Everyone's gone. That's crazy. And then, of course, that's when the light gets good. We get into blue hour, and we have people hanging around. We hang around till like a good hour after the sun's gone down, and we quite often hear and see the penguins, which are still landing there. So, I mean, I would have loved to have been transported back to when you were a kid there and being able to get down onto that beach. I mean, come on, that's
and not many people went in there. It wasn't commonly known. It was just one of those things that we knew where it was, and you get in there, and it was pretty high tide. You couldn't get through the cave, so you could get trapped in there.
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, Parks and Wildlife now access it via abseiling, so that if they need to,
must be well
quite often
shut off now.
Quite often there'll be some flotsam and jetsam that's on the beach, and they've got to go down and clean it up or move it or whatever. Or someone's dropped a phone over the edge, probably. That's more than Anyway, we digress.
I was going to say that we used to be able to get out onto one of those Apostles as well and shoot back the other way, and I've got some great shots of that looking back towards Princetown. I had a block of land at Princetown on the river mouth, near the river mouth.
Fantastic.
It was my first bit of property I bought. And I lived there in a tent.
Yeah, well, surely wouldn't be worth anything now, so that's no loss.
No. Actually, the manager of Men at Work, the old band Men at Work, he bought it off me.
Oh, there you go.
And then I bought a house in Sorrento with that.
Amazing. So
it's a finance show. It's not.
Absolutely. So let's fast forward to. I want to know when you made $1 from photography. Like when did you become professional Charlie Brown?
Would have been 1989, 88, I guess,
Yep.
back then. And in 1990, I injured myself skiing at Buller. I was being photographed, actually, and I broke my back. So that's when I then went, maybe I should be on the other side of the camera. So I'll have a couple of photos of me in the presentation of me skiing for the camera. But that's when I started taking photos. So once I recovered from that back injury, I went back up to Mount Hotham with the view of just taking photos and trying to get my foot in the door with the magazines and things like that to try and make a go of it. And I sold that block of land, so the deposit the guy was going to pay me was paying for my winter. So I was sort of looking after a lodge for someone that I knew for free, so I got free accommodation, and it was only a small lodge. And then that money was buying my lift pass and all that sort of stuff and all my food. And so I was living off that just to try and get my foot in the door. And and the following year I went back up to do the same. And Falls Creek's photographer was sick, so something happened. He couldn't do a job, so they asked me to go over. So I went to Falls Creek and did a couple of jobs there for them. I think I might have even used a Mamiya and flashlights, lights and all sorts of things. Then went back, and then they rang me the following week and said, "Oh, can you come back and do another couple of jobs for us?" So that happened through that season quite a bit, where I was coming over to Falls Creek and doing it and going back. And then they asked me at the end of the season, said, "Would you like to come up, do all our photography for us the following winter?" Which I said yes, but I lived at Hotham still. So I lived at Mount Hotham, and I'd drive over to Falls Creek, spend 2-3 days there or whatever, 4 days, photographing what they needed when the weather was good. Then I'd go back to Hotham, just skiing for the next week or two. Then go back over to Falls and do some jobs and go back to Hotham and go skiing. Because that was in 2000, I think, and it was a pretty ordinary, it was a fantastic year because we had heaps of snow, but not a great photography year. Not a great year for photographing. So we'd only get a couple of window of a few days to shoot some stuff. Then the rest of the other week it'd be snowing and powder and just fun times.
So what were you mainly shooting for? Was it for advertising purposes for these resorts, or what was the crux of what you were shooting?
High-end skiing. High-end skiing and stuff. So boarding wasn't as big then as it is now. It was pretty big though. But I mostly just photographed skiers because I skied and I understood skiing a lot more than I did boarding. And there was guys that were shooting boarding that were snowboarders, and they spoke a different language. Although I did make some money at Buller as well. When I was at Buller before I broke my back, I was making a little bit of money there, selling photos to magazines and stuff.
Okay, so you would take these shots up on the mountain. Who would process them for you?
They'd be all slides, so I'd send them down to Melbourne, to I can't remember the name of the lab off the top of my head. There was Lab X there for a while, but it wasn't an MIC, CPL. So I'd send them down to CPL, get them processed. They'd send them back up to me. I'd just get strips of transparencies that I'd then look through on my light box and then cut and mount them myself, because it was expensive to get them individually mounted and cut down there was expensive. And because when you're shooting action, you really might get 3 or 4 shots a roll that you could use, So I just I might as well only mount 3 or 4 shots up, because otherwise you just have too much to go through. Yeah. So there was a bit of a process there. But then I was selling them, and I also had good skiers coming out to ski for me, so people that were competent skiers, and we'd go out and do stuff. Go out and shoot specific things that we thought would get in the magazines, and
So there'd be magazines, I'm assuming worldwide, that were taking your work?
Mostly Australian magazines, because back then there was there would have been about 5 ski magazines in Australia that would make a living out of it too. Yeah, and it was amazing. That dried up just like that. When the internet and all that sort of stuff happened, the magazine life, which was for a lot of people, a lot of jobs went, because that just stopped happening. Where people buying magazines, they'd start doing 1 a season instead of 1 a month, or 7 for the season or something like that. They'd end up doing 1, and then they'd slowly filter it off. But I did a bit of stuff for the British Ski and Board magazine as well. I ended up doing some work for them in Europe and things like that. So I
That's very
did
cool.
get some, yeah.
And when you now you're going to correct me here, but I remember you telling me a story where you actually got to see some of your work on billboards in Melbourne. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. No,
And how exciting was that?
It was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Also on the trucks, so there's these transport trucks that go from Albury down to Melbourne regularly, and there's 3 of those that had 6 of my shots on them, the whole back of the truck, so different shot each side on the canvas, those big tarp things they have on the back of the semi-trailers. They were my shots. So there were 6 shots that were driving back and forwards to Melbourne every day, or every second day. And then there was a massive big billboard on the way up to Tullamarine. There was a huge one in Chapel Street. I've had a couple in Chapel Street, and on a big illuminated one in Chapel Street, and on the corner at in St Kilda, the junction there, had 2 big billboards there at different times, and some other one. But I never got photos of them. I never thought about it getting, because it just happened. They were just using my shots for stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there was, the most exciting one was photos at the Sydney airport, coming up the escalator. There was 2 photos there. And then when you're driving out of Sydney going south, there was another massive billboard down there, and it was me. I was the subject, and it was
Fantastic.
so funny. And it was, it was actually promoting a casino. And I'd said to this friend of mine that was an agent, she was a modelling agent, and she had me on her books. And I said to her, made this stand, and I said, I'm not doing any tobacco advertising or gambling. That's it. I'm drawing the line, nothing. And she went, all right. And she rang like 2 weeks later and said, what aren't you going to work for? And I said, tobacco and gambling. Okay, so you wouldn't be interested in looking for this job for a Canberra casino? I said, no. And she told me how much, and I went, okay, will I be recognisable? And I was broke, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah, perfect. So when you said it yourself, when the internet came along and the magazine work started to dry up, you would have obviously found yourself looking for other avenues to continue taking photos. Where did that lead you to, Charlie?
Well, by then I was photographing full time for Falls Creek. So I'd then moved to Falls Creek. So after 2 winters living at Hotham and going to Falls and working, I ended up doing some TV work for some guys that were doing all the snow reports. So I did the snow report in the ABC. I did Win TV for 3 or 4 years, did the snow reports with them, myself and another girl. No, not another girl, I'm not a girl, but a girl, Ramona. So she and I would do the snow report on Win TV. So that went all around Australia. Like, it was classic. And then we were doing some for one of the other things in Channel 7 and whatever, snow reports. And then I was also doing a lot of radio snow reports. So ABC, I was reporting on the ABC with John Fane for six winters, I think. Every Thursday morning, I'd give my little snow report, what it was like and all that sort of stuff. So I was pretty right. I was set up with my photography work there at Falls Creek. So it didn't impact me as much. And there was only 3 guys in Australia doing the ski stuff, or 4 of us. There was Mark Ashkenazi at Buller. He was there for a long time, and he was early in my piece. He helped me out. Andrew Barnes was shooting at Hotham. I think Andrew might have passed away, actually. I was there. Steve Cuff in New South Wales, and Randy Wyman. So that was it. That was us.
Yeah.
So all doing our snow at different resorts.
Yeah. So you sort of carved out, your own little niche for that sort of time.
Yeah.
And then, like all good things, that must have come to an end as well. And when did you make the step in Mount Beauty to open a gallery?
Well, I was still working for Falls when I moved to Mount Beauty full time, because I had a child who was in the other room, actually, or Isla. Yeah. That was 14 years ago, because she was 14 2 weeks ago. So we moved up here full time then, and her mother and I separated a year later. And so Isla's been with me mostly, and now she's with me full time for the last 5 years, I think. But I finished at Falls Creek. I just had an after. It doesn't matter what you're doing. After a while, a job is a job. It was work. It was getting to me. I thought I wasn't fresh and I wasn't new at it. And I was like, I needed some fresh eyes on it. And I just felt I was getting a bit stagnant. So I quit. Well, funnily enough, I quit, and then Mount Hotham rang me and said, "Oh, did you quit?" I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Oh, do you want to come and do ours?" so I went over to Hotham and did their brochures, their photographing for a winter, and then Falls got me back again, offered me some deals and childcare and all this stuff and ski school for my daughter and all that. And I went, "Oh, all right, I'll come back."
Yeah.
But that's what I was honest. When I first started doing it, the only advertising really we're doing was brochures. So you were shooting for brochures that came out every year. So you'd shoot the year before for the following winter's brochures that would be promoted around, and a little bit of advertising in magazines for the resort, but not much. So when digital happened, it was all of a sudden instant. You're doing stuff for the newspapers, you're doing stuff for the websites, you're doing stuff for, instant. That one, some people wanted a shot every day, and I put my foot down and said, "No, I'm not shooting a shot every day for you, because after a month, I'm going to have to going. I can't shoot the same thing every day.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I've got to have variety." And it was.
So, but while you're shooting for these magazines and working for the resorts, are you in the background collating quite a collection of your own sort of landscape stuff from the high country as well?
Yeah. I wasn't as much then. I don't know if everyone's brain works like mine. But
let me answer that for you, Charlie.
Yes. But if I go out, it's quite funny. If I went out to shoot some high-end skiing and boarding and stuff, I would get a few landscape shots around the place, but I would be really hard to then step straight into go and shoot some food in a restaurant. Or do, it's funny, and sometimes you're out to do a certain job and your mind is on that style of photography that you're doing for that day, and that's all you have in your head, and that's all you do. And then if I was to go out specifically to shoot some landscape stuff, I would, or if I had to shoot some restaurants or something like that, you go and, okay, I'm shooting food and people and blah, blah, blah. It's interesting because it is a different mindset, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But all the while, while you're gathering these images, was there ever a long-term goal to put those images to use, or was it more just you were just collecting those for your own sort of personal collection?
No. I had thought about using them. I'd started quite a long time ago selling prints. I've probably been, I only closed the gallery 6 months ago, and I had that for 2 years. And prior to that, I had a container for 2 winters. So I had probably 4 years of gallery stuff. But prior to that, I was just selling them on, or people just ring me, go, "Can we buy that photo we saw?" So, "Oh, okay." I don't know how they got in touch with me or whatever. Excuse me. But I sold quite a lot, but I had a lot of exhibitions as well. So I think I did a lot of, I had maybe 12 exhibitions that I've mostly put on myself in various places, that Dinner Plain and at Hotham and at Falls and in Melbourne and Albury and all around the place. So that helped as well. People would see them at exhibitions. They go, "Oh, we saw you at Dinner Plain last Easter with your exhibition. And we'll buy that particular shot." And I go, "That was 5 years ago." So it's interesting. It does work. It's a long-term sort of thing, but it does. Exhibition and stuff does work.
Yeah, well, I highly recommend.
If you're in people's heads.
I've got Charlie's website listed right there, mountainside.net.au. Jump on and have a squeeze at that. It'll also be linked in the show notes as well.
Yeah, it's being, let me just say that, it's being rebuilt. I spoke to the guy yesterday, Cosmo, who's rebuilding it for me. And I said, just get something up, because my old site's still there, but the new one's just going to be different and a bit easier.
Oh, mate, I'm on your website now, having a bit of a look around. It's totally.
What's it do? I haven't had a look. What's it doing?
You haven't had a look.
I haven't had a look for ages. It's the wrong
so
Charlie
Brown.
I think I should get my computer. Oh,
right.
I
won't show anyone that is your Instagram handle, because in case it's not, but the right.
No, that is.
That is the right Instagram.
But it's not on the website, I don't think, unless he's changed it. He may have changed it because he was going to yesterday.
Yeah.
But the old one. But anyway, it is I find the social media stuff and that digital, that sort of side of things gets me, because back in the day when you were shooting film, you shot the film, you sent it off to get processed, it came back, you mounted the slides up, you put them into folders, you send them off to the client. Nowadays, you've got to promote yourself so much, and you've got to be doing all your social media and your Instagram stuff, and I do videos of myself and all this, and I struggle. I've got all this stockpile of videos at the moment that I've been doing over the last month, and I'm like, oh, I should post them. And they're tips and stuff. So it's because I'm going to start redoing my YouTube channel, but I'm not very good at it.
Well, I think Charlie, one of the things, and I hear this a lot from even myself, like, because I came into photography right at the back end of analog. I was kind of lucky that digital came around when it did, because I had the skill set there. You know, I could edit, I could do basic stuff like that. But I hear a lot of guys who are maybe just that, and literally only a few years older than me, like yourself, that sort of struggle. I think they preferred the process of analog because of what you just said, and that is sending the film away, getting it back, or if they were processing it themselves, they wouldn't process it immediately. Like, it'd take a few days or even a couple of weeks, and they'd get around to processing it. And then you're looking at your images with more of probably a clearer mind. I find when I'm out shooting now, what digital does to me is it almost lets me down a little bit, because I'll go out there and I'll take a photo and that's the one. I'm looking at it on my screen on the back of the camera, like that, right? And I'll even make a note of the file name or whatever. I'll import it within half an hour. I'll be back in my studio and I'll import it into Lightroom or Photoshop. And I'm like, okay, it probably wasn't, as good as I thought. It's still a fantastic image. It's still a great image, but it doesn't have that impact that if I had have not looked at it for a couple of weeks and then gone, oh, bang, look at that. That's the shot. And I'm going to go on a limb and assume that happened a bit with you with your sports, particularly the skiing photography, that you might have forgotten about certain images. And when you actually got the film back, there must have been an absolute buzz, right?
Yeah, no, it was. And you're exactly right, what you're saying. That leaving it, that it creates a little bit of anticipation for you as well, when you've got to wait. And you do get them, oh yeah, and especially if you're shooting powder or something like, because 2 weeks later the powder's all gone, it's a whole different atmosphere outside, the weather patterns, and and you go, oh yeah, that was great, it was fantastic. But I'm like you, I'll get shots home thinking, that is a great shot. That's going to be on the wall of the gallery, and get it home and you go, oh, no, it's not that good after all.
Yeah. No, it's very emblematic of the digital era, I reckon. And I encourage people, if you can, just keep your powder dry on your editing, even if you just leave it a day or two. Just, if you've been away on a trip or whatever, you come back, don't just, bustle in and look at your photos. Give it a bit of time. And to that end as well, I've found myself when I edit, where I'll create a folder that's called Keepers within the image folder itself. Yeah. And all the good stuff will go in there, but I don't delete the other stuff. It still stays there. And then even a few months down the track, if I find 5 minutes spare, I'll open that folder again. Now, I found some amazing images from a trip more than 12 months ago in Tasmania that I took, that I'm like, why haven't these images seen the light of day? And it's because I skimmed over them to get to what I perceive to be the good stuff straight away. So I see that as really good advice for photographers out there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've pulled some stuff out of the archives and then tweaked it a little bit on Photoshop and blown them up, and two of those are now my best sellers. They people just they ring me and ask me, have you got one of those misty shots of the, which is from where we go on our bus trip when we go up to Botham.
How about you for the segue? I appreciate that. I was about to actually start talking about that, because we've managed to fill up 50 minutes very quickly. The Bright Festival of Photography, Charlie. Now, am I right in saying that you are one of the originals from Bright? Is that right?
Yeah, I was there on the first one.
There you go.
First one. I rang Nick. And Nick, I heard that he was going to put this on, and I knew the fellow that it all started at the Bright Brewery. Yes. And the guy from the Bright Brewery, Rupert, had suggested to Nick, because they were neighbours at the base of Buffalo, that he should run a photography festival there. And so Nick's gone with that. And then I heard I might have been through Rupert, who I ended up buying his van. So that Mercedes Sprinter van I've got was his. Right. So I rang Nick and said, look, I'm a local guy, I'm here. If you want me to do anything, I'd be keen to be involved just because it's photography. That's what I do and blah, blah, blah. So I did. So he got me involved in the first year and I ran a couple of workshops and I was doing, in the early days, I was doing some mountain bike stuff with off-camera flash and all that sort of thing. And it was, pretty exciting. And I was also taking a bus up to Hotham on my own. And then, having 20 people trying to teach them how to use off-camera flash with mountain biking and all that sort of stuff. In the end, I went to Nick, I went, can I just run some beginner classes? Yeah. I just want to teach people about aperture and shutter speed and ISO and different lenses right here at the venue. It's so much easier because, and Nick by that stage had started really excelling in his mountain biking, motocross, that sort of thing. So he's sort of taken over that side of it. He loves it and he's good at it. And I had another guy, Mark Watson, that was a friend of mine who used to work for Red Bull. So I got him on board. So he and I did a couple of years of running workshops together with the off-camera flash. And I love off-camera flash, not with 20 people and trying to fit different, syncing things onto their cameras that isn't the same as yours.
Yeah, I was going to say that must have been an absolute nightmare where you've got probably 20 different cameras as well and four or five different systems. And so I did Watto's workshop a couple of years ago, which I think was a last BFOP he did. I might have done it last year as well, but no,
I didn't do that.
That's right. So it was the year before, and man, that was absolutely brilliant. It was one of the coolest workshops I've ever done. And I personally preferred to shoot that sort of stuff in natural light, just higher ISOs, faster shutter speeds, that sort of stuff. And I got because I'm convinced, Charlie, that inside me there's a sports photographer just trying to get out. But that could be a future thing, when I'm a bit older. And
speaking of segues, my YouTube channel, which is instructional, I will be doing the next one I'm putting up, I think, is on mountain biking, photographing mountain biking, but I'm doing some motocross and some other sports related ones as well.
Sensational. So that will be linked below in the description.
That would be photographing with Charlie.
Yes. So the Big Bad Bus Trip, Charlie, last year was an absolute hoot. We had a ball. I think the thing that I love about BFOP is the energy that people bring to BFOP. And I'm not just talking about you and I and Matt and Nick, the organisers, but it feels like everyone's into it. Like it's a really cool vibe. All right, welcome back, everyone. Minor technical glitch is what happens for some reason when I deal with this guy. But hey, look, no, I'm not casting dispersions. It could have been my end. I seriously doubt that, but that's okay. It's good to have you back.
We did mention that my technological skills are a little limited, so I'll take full responsibility for that glitch.
That's all good. You've just basically cost me 3 or 4 hours in the editing suite, so thanks, mate.
I know that. I'm sorry.
No, totally fine. Totally fine. We weren't that far from the end of the show, actually, but and by the wonders of modern editing, no one even knows what happened. So we've just flowed straight on. It doesn't really matter. I was talking about the big bad bus trip that's happening at Bright at BFOP in a few weeks' time. And what I was saying was how much I enjoyed last year's bus trip insofar as the range of photographic skill we had. We had a guy that had literally just got his camera out of the box. And then we had people that had been taking photos for 30 or 40 years on the bus trip as well. And what I love about Bright is it's such an eclectic mix of photographic skill. And I also love the fact that when we get to our locations up in the high country there, that not everyone has to, sit and hang off our every word. People, like, the bus pulls up and a lot of people just take off. Like we had one guy who just headed off and didn't come back until the bus left. So I love that about our bus trip.
And I like also just wandering around because there's people everywhere, like you say. So I'm just walking up to people like you are and going, now, what are you doing? Is there anything you need a hand with? and some go, oh yeah, thanks, and others go, no, I'm good, you know, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing or whatever, you know. So it's great like that.
Yeah. I think one of the best parts of the trip is the fact that people can be quite autonomous, or as autonomous as they want to be. But I also found that people liked it because we got them into places that they may never have been able to get to on their own or under their own steam. Places like, you know, the sunset at Hotham, when we're literally pulled off the side of the road and looking out over that magnificent valley, you know, where you've got all the layering and things like that. And look, who knows what the weather's going to serve up this time around. I do know, though, that last year we got a couple of cracking sunsets. Let's see what we get this year.
We got a little bit of snow this year too.
There you go. So you reckon we're going to have more snow this year than last year?
Yes, snow in our shots. So I'm just going to pull up a photo, actually, if I've got one
right
there, of last year.
Oh,
one of the ones we had.
Okay. So this will give you an idea on Charlie's technical.
Can you see that?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes. No.
I've got my computer, my phone on my music stand. That's what the reflection is. But anyway, that's a bit of stuff that we've got.
A little bit of atmosphere that we get up there. So for those of you who were on the bus last year, awesome. For those of you coming on the bus this year, we visit 3 main locations with sort of a bonus stop on the way as we head over the pass. But you know, starting at your neck of the woods, like literally down the road from where you're recording this at Mount Beauty at the Pondage, which is what a cracking location.
I can see it out of my window.
There you go. Yeah, a great spot to kick it off. And then we head up to Bogong Village, where we have 2 stops at Bogong Village. We have Lake Guy, and then we have basically the junction of, I believe it's called Boulder Creek and Fainter Creek.
Fainter Creek, yeah.
Is it Boulder Creek or Rocky Creek?
Rocky Valley Creek.
Thank you. Yeah,
they're a great couple of rivers too. You know, they really are beautiful. I was down there the other day doing some stuff. Yeah.
And then we do make our way up the top of Mount Hotham for sunset. So really looking forward to it. If you have secured your seat on the bus, then well done. You're going to be in for a treat. It's a lot of fun and a good day out. So can't wait, Charlie. You got anything in store? Like you're gonna write us a song this year, or was that only for last year?
No. I've written 3 more songs.
You've done what?
I've written 3 more songs, especially I'm going to perform them on Saturday night in the venue on stage.
Okay. Do you know what time you're doing that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Nick's yet to, by the time. He was saying maybe that it would be do a song, then they do some stuff, and then do it when all the shenanigans are going on.
Yes.
But I would like to think I could just get up and play 4 songs and get off.
Right. Well,
I'm not a full pro, as you know, so it's probably difficult to get up 4 separate times, then psych yourself into it and then play and sing. Whereas if I'm up there and do a song, the first one you loosen up a bit, and the second one will be all right.
Well, don't let his modesty get in the way. He's quite has quite the vocal cords, this man, and he did regale us of his song around a campfire on the Sunday night when all the instructors got together, and it was very, very well received.
Oh yeah, I was surprised. It was way more well received than I thought it was, and everyone sang along. It was great. Yeah, so
considering you spent the vast majority of your time on the bus actually writing it instead of instructing people, it went over really well.
Well, this year I've got them already written, so we can have. I think we could swap. We could sit around different seats on the bus too, and just talk to people individually about their wants and or even if it's just to see what they've got for lunch.
Yeah, true. Because I'll probably forget to take mine, so it's all good.
I'm making a stew again, so I'll take a couple of thermoses of stew along, so you can have some of that.
Awesome. All right, Charlie, thank you so much for coming on the Down South Photo Show. We do really appreciate you coming on. As I mentioned before, if you want to check out Charlie's stuff, there's his website address right there, mountainside.net.au. Jump on, have a look. And also, if you've got any questions for Charlie, hit us up in the comments below. I'll pass them on to him, make sure he sees them. If you happen to be up in Bright, come and say good day to the great man.
Do you want the YouTube address?
We'll link that below.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
This is 2025, Charlie. We link things.
Yes. Trying to get a few plugs in.
All right, that's it. That's the podcast. That's episode 179 of the Down South Photo Show. Thank you again, Charlie. We will see you for episode, well, not you, but we'll see everyone else for episode 180 sometime in the near future. Cheers.
Cool. Thanks, Brendan. See ya.